dirt road off a 2-lane past a shot up county sign. Squeaking of a backyard screen door letting you know that it's
The Putnam Personalities podcast exists to highlight the good, the positive, and the inspirational in our community. This episode is not an endorsement of any political or religious ideology. This podcast is a simple interview to get to know our friends, neighbors, leaders, and colleagues on a more personal level. Sit back, grab some sweet tea, and enjoy today's interview.
like home to me.
Mr. Josh Alexander with me today, and I don't know if you've ever done a podcast before.
Not really. No, this is new to me, but thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Well, I love listening to them, and honestly, it's kind of new to me too, and it's very generic. I don't have a big promotion or a big setup, production studio. I just have, it's simple. So I'm a simple person. That's who I am.
It's easier to focus on what's important.
That's right. And we're just having a conversation, so we're not trying to by the time we start going, I always forget about the camera. I'm just talking to you, and I enjoy getting to know people, getting to know their story. We're not really going to talk about if you win this election, what are you going to do? Because the truth is, if you win or lose, you're still a person and your story matters whether you win or lose. You are who you are. So that's what we want to focus on today.
Yep, absolutely. My wife is, she's giving me a day-by-day countdown to when we can return to normal life.
Okay, good.
I get it every morning.
Okay.
But on August 20th, I win or I win. Right. To being me or the community wins.
Exactly.
So that's the way we've approached the entire campaign.
Very cool.
It's been unique. Our family is, I was born and raised here, and I told somebody the other day, they asked me, I said, what's been the best part about the campaign? I said, honestly, the way that my family and community has rallied behind me. I said, it brings back memories of when I was in high school and college. On Sundays, every Sunday, the whole family would get together and play volleyball in the pasture. Even my grandfather, he played volleyball until he was 70 years old with us. Wow. And that was his, I remember him telling me, he said, one of my things on my bucket list was being able to play volleyball with you guys when I was 70. He said, I was able to do it today.
Awesome.
So, I don't know. My family is probably my biggest asset.
Awesome.
And something I hold closest to my heart.
Good. So you said you were born here?
Yes, sir.
So I'm assuming, have you lived here your whole life as well?
And never left. I've had plenty of opportunities to go elsewhere, but I've been able to make it work here.
Okay. So where were you born at? Like where was the hospital at that time?
It is the nursing home across from the old movie theater, the drive-in movie theater that's now the cemetery.
Oh, okay.
People were conceived
I was like,
there.
wait a minute, hold on.
People were conceived there and now they're buried there.
Oh no. Okay. All right. So the old nurse. So it's the nursing home now. Of course, I think it's changed names in the last couple of years.
Yep. Yeah. It was Crestwood at one time.
Okay.
Actually, I went by there the other day. They had some questions about some energy and air conditioning stuff, and a friend of a friend asked me if I could go by and help them pro bono, and I was like, yeah, dude, they're good folks.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, it was actually one of my accounts back in the day when I was with Johnson Controls. They were on the verge of evacuating all the residents because ACA states, Florida ACA handbook says that if the temperature exceeds 78 degrees for more than a certain period of time, you have to evacuate all the residents. So they called me and asked for a creative solution. Due to asbestos abatement in the basement of the building where the air handlers were, they had to shut them down because the contractor disturbed that envelope.
Oh, okay.
So I said, yeah, I can make something happen. So we had a combination of new package units, basically huge mobile home units, and some new used units that we had salvaged from another job. And I was able to pipe them in strategic locations throughout the facility, so that they could retain, keep their patients safe, and keep them in the house.
Oh, wow.
So they were very, very happy with that. It's just, stuff like that you do.
Yeah, I like the word pilfer. It's like all of a sudden Josh Alexander is a pirate.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
I am the master of stretching a dollar.
There you go.
We'll make it happen. We'll figure out a way.
Well, I didn't know that you did. So I was actually thinking about this. So yesterday a man came to me, because I sell air conditioning parts on the side for a little bit of a help, make up a little bit of living expenses. And
sure.
He came over and said,
we call that a side hustle.
Right. Will you check my capacitor? So I pull out my meter, And this is a lesson for everybody, which you already know this, but you can't take a regular electrical meter and check a capacitor because the capacitor is checked by microfarad. So anyway, so I take out my meter and check it. And I said, well, your capacitor is supposed to be 7.5 microfarads. So it's only reading 5. So you really need to get a new one. Your motor's not going to start correctly. So anyway,
burn out your windings in your motor.
Exactly. So he takes capacitor and he brings me another one. And he says, well, this one says 7.5 on it. I'm sorry, this one says 5 and it's only reading 3. So I said, all right, well, let's do this. Take your one that's supposed to be 7.5 reading 5 and take this one and put it where your one that's supposed to be 5 is reading 3.5 and change it out. So he did that. Then he brings me another capacitor. I was like, goodness, this thing was huge and old and rusted. I've never seen one that old. Mm-hmm. And it was reading less. So anyway, so we did that yesterday. He bought 2 capacitors, used an old one somewhere else and replaced it. So I tried to save him some money. But all that to say, he had come to me because somebody had just quoted him $7,100 to change out his little 3-ton unit. He's like, I don't have that kind of money. So $50 later, he's got his unit back running and he's good to go. So
it's
it's getting outrageous.
It is. My dad received a quote the other day to replace a unit at his house. 5-ton unit, I think. It says 5-ton split system air handler. He's going to have to go back.
Let me guess, 11 or 12.
$12,000.
Yep.
In the unit on Amazon. Same unit, same SEER. $4,000.
Right.
And you pay. It's you blow out the line set, you reuse the line set.
Right.
You hook up the evaporator.
Right. And I realize there's an overhead.
I understand.
But also realize I don't want to get in trouble on this podcast today, so I won't go further. But R22 is expensive, but it's not selling for $100 a pound.
No. And everybody's got to make a living. I was in that business.
I know.
You got to pay salespeople, but
exactly.
I mean,
it is difficult.
But the demand was high, and the cost justified it for a number of years. But I think we're starting to see that level off. And I really think that the companies that are going to survive are the ones that recognize that and capture the market and capture that customer base. But what do I know?
The government has really, because when I got in the industry, they were fading out R22, putting in R410A.
And then 134.
Right. But the interesting thing is I found this pretty interesting. I have a guy, he just passed away. His name was Robert. Mm-hmm. And he worked for a nursing home that buys from the company I worked for. Mm-hmm. And anyway, he called me one day. He's like, well, I need 10 R20. I'm like, they don't sell those anymore. He said, well, I got all these air handlers, but I need these condensers. We got hit on the roof. He said, there's no way I'm changing out 10 units at the hospital. So we found out they were selling what they call dry units. So they would put nitrogen in them, mm-hmm. but once you pump the nitrogen out, you put R22 in, you can hook them up. Mm-hmm. So we were still legally able to buy and sell it. Then the government found out they were doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And so they put a stop to that. So anyway, but now that's faded. Now 410A is fading out. And now we've got this new stuff. So
some of those units you could retrofit with a different expansion valve too.
Right, that's what I was told. Yep, the little orifice and stuff like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did some of that too.
But I didn't know you worked for Johnson Controls. That's pretty cool.
I was
is it York now? I think
Johnson Controls bought York. They also manufacture 85% of the batteries that are sold in the United States. All the electronic car dashes.
Oh, okay.
They have 180,000 employees worldwide. I was the leading account executive in the southeastern United States. I was number 3 in the continental U.S. in 2012.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So are you retired now? Or are you not with them anymore?
Not with them.
Okay.
Not with them.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was asked to mentor the rest of our executive sales team in the Jacksonville and Orlando area, or primarily Jacksonville. And I said, well, why do I need to do that? And she said, well, you've outsold the other 7 combined. I said, okay. And what they would do also, if there was an issue with a contract or a negotiation, they would fly me here, fly me there. People trust me.
Right.
They like me. And my main goal was to negotiate a resolution that would satisfy the customer and retain them as a customer, but also make it where we could still maintain profitability and continue that relationship.
Right.
So we would, sit down for hours, but we'd hash it out and we'd get it done. And when they're sending me from Florida to, Milwaukee or wherever, South Florida, Jackson, I was based in Jacksonville, but all over the state, all over the Southeast.
the industry has changed so much. We've kind of gone off of you, but we're just having a conversation, so I actually like this. I didn't know what I was going to talk to you about, so actually this kind of got me sparked a little bit. So yesterday, I called a very reputable, well-known across the world company, needed some equipment, and get a price on a 5-ton split system heat pump. So I call, and I said, please quote me the copper as well. And so I get the quote back, and I'm like, I looked, I'm like, why'd you quote me 2 rolls of 1/4-inch copper? 1/4-inch copper on a 5-ton. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So I called back. I'm like, she's like, well, do you want the indoor copper or the outdoor copper? And I'm like, no, I'm being serious. Like, I'm not really time for joking. I'm really trying to get this job complete. She goes, well, you don't need to be so rude. I'm like, I'm not being rude. I'm asking you a legitimate question. Are you being serious? It's all indoor and outdoor copper. And so finally we figured out, I think it ended up being 3/8 and 7/8 copper. But anyway, but she never got that answer. But what happens in the industry now, it used to be when you walk into a company, there'd be 3 or 4 men, women, whatever, sitting at the counter, and they would have some experience. They're retired out of it, or they've been
they don't want to
have some hands on it. Right.
They're not physically capable of being in the field anymore.
Exactly.
It's a laborious, intense job.
It is a hard job.
Yes.
And so they are now working the counter, and when you call them, they know the parts. They'll get you in and out.
Most of them knew more than I did. I was an account executive.
Yeah.
I wasn't an installer. I didn't
Exactly.
do that. So
Right.
they would tell me, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So now though, we go in the other day to another reputable company, and I walk in, and the 3 people behind the counter are all new, and I'm like, hey, y'all new? Like, yeah, we all worked at the bowling. I think they said bowling. We worked at the bowling supply store together. I'm like, so last week you're selling shoes and I guess putting holes in bowling balls for the fit people's fingers, and today you're selling, high dollar equipment. But the thing is, and a lot of these people don't have the knowledge anymore. They're just they go on a computer and they're trying to look. And we got to be careful with that kind of stuff, because like you, when you're mentoring people, it seems like what they're doing is they were trying to get ready to replace you.
100%.
Is what it sounds like.
100%. And
it's unfortunate.
It is. And when you have staff that has been with you for years and years and years, and they've got roots in the community.
Right.
You can't just arbitrarily say, listen, we got somebody that can do it 50 cents an hour cheaper. We're going to sub it out to them. Are you kidding?
Well, that's the Amazon thing.
Where's your loyalty?
Right. That's
where's
your
loyalty
Amazon
to your
thing.
community?
Right.
And the thing is, you'll get 50 cent cheaper labor, but you'll have 50 times the lower quality finished product.
Right.
And the thing is, these people care. They live here.
Right.
And they have a vested interest in what they're doing. A subcontractor does not care. They don't care. They get paid by the mile per hour, not the hour. The faster they get it done, get on to the next job.
Well, I've had people come, they ask for a price of something. I tell them, and they say, well, I can find it cheap. I got it cheaper on Amazon for like a $2, $3, even $10 cheaper. And my thing is, well, if you come back to me and you need to replace it, you're going to want me to do the warranty and do the process. Look, I'm a guy that lives local. I came to your house, I can't go to their house and check things because that's not what I do.
Yeah.
But, I've gone and helped, I've met them at a parking lot. I take out my meter and check. It's okay, your capacitor is good or bad. So I'll go the extra mile and help you, but then you turn around and buy it online and you wait 3-4 days and you save $4, but you just wasted my time and gas.
Right.
So yeah, I'm all about keeping it local, and that's a good thing.
I'm 100% about keeping it
So
local.
speaking of keeping it local, you were born and raised here, born in a hospital here, elementary school.
I went to Mellon Elementary when my grandfather was principal there. Then I went to Mosley Elementary. Then I shifted to Interlochen Elementary. My mother was a guidance counselor at C.H. Price, so we commuted every day from Francis area, Pinal area. And then she moved in as the guidance counselor at Mosley Elementary. So I went there. So I went to 3 different middle schools in Putnam County.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
You graduated from Palatka?
I did. I went to St. John's River Community College at the time, St. John's River State, on a baseball scholarship.
Oh, nice.
I redshirted my first year, and then I got a scholarship the second 2 years I was there.
Okay.
So
scholarship to where? Did you go?
St. John's River State.
Oh, and you played for them?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep. It's funny. I played for them. My dad played for them. My stepdad played for them. And my stepbrother played for them.
Oh, wow.
So my stepbrother and I played together at St. John's, and my dad and my stepdad played together at St. John's.
Oh, wow. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, we've got a terrific lineage here in the community.
When you graduated, were you a Brave, a Maroon, or were you a Panther?
I was a Panther.
Okay.
I was a Panther.
When they switched that over?
I think this when did they open Palatka High? 1979.
So that's when they officially came.
Yeah.
Because I think, if I'm not mistaken,
They were
wasn't the school divided at one time?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Palatka South, Palatka Central.
And that's where the Maroons were different. Okay.
Yep. So I want to say my mother and dad came back from South Florida in 72. So my dad left St. John's and he went and played baseball at the University of South Florida. My mother went with him down there. And then my stepdad went to the University it's called Florida Southern. And he pitched in 2 College World Series and had his number retired at St. John's River State.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. He's a student of whatever game he's playing. He actually went 1 year playing adult league softball in Palatka
Oh, really?
without making an out.
Oh, wow.
The entire season batting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was hoping you were talking about batting, not pitching.
Yeah, that would have been a very long season.
that would not be something to brag about.
Yep,
You get one out. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, it's been a long game, right?
He, after my mother and father got divorced, he's been an inspiration. He's got a servant's mentality and will help with anything he can do. He's my mother's rock.
Okay. Very good. So after college, what'd you do?
During the summers, I would wash boats at Sunrise Marine with Randy Hedstrom over there.
Okay.
And as I progressed, he allowed me to come inside and start working on boats a little bit. Then I became the rigger, so I would do the layout of the dash, the electronics. I would hang the engines,
Oh, wow.
adjust the motor height, the performance issues of the boat, setting of the trailer. And most people who know Ronnie know he's a little bit of a perfectionist. And so that's kind of how I got the mentality and the work ethic that I have with, everything needs to be straight. It's got to be perfect. Or Ronnie wouldn't let it go out the door. So it was a great experience because I hadn't had that direction,
How'd you get into selling electronics and stuff like that?
Well, after I left Sunrise Marine, I went to work at Palatka Ford Lincoln Mercury. I started in September of 1995, and 1996, 1997, and 1998, I was Salesman of the Year.
Oh, wow.
I outsold gentlemen that had been in the business for 30 and 40 years. I achieved that's another thing I did. I was also a Legends and Leaders member, which is their National Honor Society. So I've achieved national recognition through 2 of the world's largest companies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Just
very good.
a small town boy from Palatka.
Yeah.
But so I left there, and then I took a position with Rex Sloan and Carl Beck at Beck Nissan. I ran their Nissan dealership for a little while, and then Bobby Williams and Randy Williams pirated me away over to St. John Chevrolet, and I ran that dealership for a while. And then my wife and I started talking about family and children, and she was more talking about it than I was.
Where'd you meet your wife at?
You want the real story?
Uh-oh, I was like, should I have asked that question? But no.
While I was playing baseball,
I was like, please don't tell me it was at the old cemetery. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Even better. While I was at while I was playing baseball at St. John's, we were going to get some beverages or something like that at the convenience store there by the current Taco Bell. It was Burger King at that time, and I saw this beautiful curly-headed brunette putting gas in a red step-side Chevrolet.
And she introduced you to her sister. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'll let her know you said that.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's the same lady that chased me out of an apartment with a baseball bat. But
Okay.
yeah, I'll let her know you said that.
I'm just kidding.
But I said, hey, how you doing? She said, good. I said, where you going? She said, nowhere with you. But anyhow,
That's hilarious. That's really how you met.
Yes. We've been together 30 years, married 25.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I was persistent, as salespeople are.
Right.
And I ended up being the best thing that ever happened.
Okay. I was wondering if it was like, you come with me, pull the baseball bat out. No, you're coming with me. No, I'm just kidding.
no,
But,
that's what I didn't do. What I was supposed to. I learned that lesson early.
Yeah, that's funny. That's cool though.
Yeah.
How long you been married now?
25.
Okay, so I asked you before because now you kind of you didn't get embarrassed or upset with me, but you did say, wait a minute, I'm not that old yet, but you started late in life, you said. But
Yeah.
I have a grandkid will be 6, and I know you're a little bit older than me, so because I was graduating high school in 94, but
So you graduated with my brother.
yeah, so I do have a grandkid, but you don't have grandkids yet. But hopefully, maybe as time goes on, one of your grandsons will play baseball for St. John's River, right?
That would be fantastic.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So you have boys or girls?
I have 2 boys and a girl.
Okay.
Yep. My my first son, I didn't really know. My wife let me in on that one about and then the second one I knew he was coming. He and I share the same birth date, so I lost everything when I got him. I don't even have a birth date anymore. And then Ivy was a surprise to all of us. Yep. My wife went through a medical procedure during the birth of our second son to prevent any additional pregnancies, and then we got Ivy, and that has been a blessing.
That's interesting.
Yep, that little girl's my sanity.
Okay. I tell our church sometimes, a lot of them probably didn't watch the show, but Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
So love watch Seinfeld.
Okay.
And there's this episode. I think it's George's father in there, and he's his wife is always driving him crazy, and he has this little comment. He always says "Serenity now," and so when something's going crazy, he's like "Serenity now," and that's. Yeah, you said you needed. She's your pride and joy, and she's your. What'd you say? She was your.
She's my sanity.
Your sanity.
Yes.
That's right. So we all have different ways of expressing our need of sanity, but his was serenity now. Mine is just going to my office and opening a book and just detaching a little bit. So
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what kind of hobbies do you guys have?
We boat, we fish, we fix stuff. Last night I got home. So when I was 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, we were out riding Mondex, in the corral, drinking beer, doing the normal teenage things that you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And, man, I've been blessed. My kids don't do that. Friday nights, Jeremy and Austin and Maddox, Easton, they're all at the house welding, building, working on their trucks, fixing boats. And
That's cool.
it's just amazing to me.
That's good. When you say fix stuff, so you meant like fixing broken things or making things or a little bit of
Both of everything. Yeah, like last
Gotcha.
night they fabricated a console out of aluminum angle iron for Austin's. Tucker welded and fabricated it for Austin's project boat that he's building now.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then Maddox and he were working on that little flat skiff that we're building. And that's just what they do.
Where's the welding knowledge come from? Is it something they learned in school or?
Yes. Tucker is certified in a couple of different disciplines, and he initially thought that's where his career path was going to be. Fabrication shop was his goal. He can weld, he can MIG, TIG, he can stick, aluminum, stainless, all that. He can do it all. Funny story.
Black of high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he really took a liking to his teacher. Tremendous guy, Levi.
Okay.
But he was an inspiration for Tucker. And, that's what you need, the work ethic that he instills in those kids.
That's good.
And gives them the opportunity
Is he
to
still
grow.
there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he's there.
Go ahead and share the funny story. I cut you off by
No,
accident. Sorry about that.
no. It's not a funny story. It's a proud moment as a dad.
Yeah.
When Tucker was 15, they got a new CAD machine. Not a CAD, but plasma machine, where it has the
cutter, yeah.
computer-aided drafting cutter, and nobody knew how to use it. Each one of the schools got one. So Tucker took the initiative to read the manual, watch the videos, and call the hotline. And through a process of trial and error, he taught himself how to run that machine.
Oh, wow.
And then he helped Levi teach the rest of the kids in the class how to run it.
Nice.
And he did such a good job that Tad DeLoach out here in Interlaken asked him to come out and help him out here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, we've had some proud sports moments, but that's one probably a bigger issue.
Yeah. And Ted, I like Ted. Ted's a good.
Oh,
Ted's
he's
a good
good.
man.
Well, Ted's dad and I worked together at Black Ford, so
Okay.
we've known each other forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
Oh man, the roots run deep in this community.
Oh yeah, I've learned that.
Yeah.
And
Very
sometimes
deep.
that's good, and sometimes that's not.
It is, but the majority of my supporters, my really hardcore supporters, have known me since I was born.
Right.
My neighbor is Linda Myers and Vernon Myers,
Okay.
and they're some of our biggest supporters. But
Okay.
Linda's known me since I was born.
Now Linda's our tax collector.
tax
now, right? She's
collector, yeah.
retiring. Okay.
Yep. And she's known me since I was born. So for her to go out on a limb and support me, I think that speaks volumes. She's seen the good, she's seen the bad, and she still thinks that I'm a benefit to this county.
That's good. So it's not the fact that you know stuff about her that you're going to tell if she doesn't support you.
No,
Just kidding.
I would
I'm just
never.
I'm sure it goes both ways.
Yeah, no,
I'm just kidding.
I would never contest that woman. She is smart and sharp as they come.
Right.
She
that's
is
cool.
an amazing resource for this community, and she has served it so well.
That's cool.
And
I've never met her, so
really,
no.
oh,
no,
buddy,
sir, I haven't.
you would enjoy that conversation. Even after this election is done, it would behoove you to engage her.
Well, to be truthful, I didn't start this to interview politicians. Like,
Right.
one of the first people I had was Colonel Wells. That was the first person.
Yep.
Second one I had was Reva Godbolt, who is a young lady who's 21, 22, graduated from Interlochen, went off and played sports, and she won a character award. So I had her come on and talk about it. And so my goal actually in the long run still is to find people that people really don't know in our community and kind of get their story, because when people pass, their story's gone with them. We've got a lot of veterans. There's a man I'm reading a book about right now who's a veteran, and he was an engineer during Vietnam. And so I'm reading a story that somebody found his story and wrote a book about, but nobody knows this guy in the community. But if I can finally get a hold of him, because I don't know how, I want to have him come on and get his story. But that's really my goal. But when the elections start, I'm like, you know what? So I had some people come on, and
This will be an opportunity to generate some interest in traffic, and then we can parlay that to grow the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, no,
well, not even that. Actually, no. It's not. No. I know you're. No. No, the truth is, like, I honestly, I want to know people more on a personal level.
Yes.
So, I know you're a Republican. I know you're running for a position. I already met with your candidate. In fact, his interview released this morning. Yours will release tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I just want to know people. And like I told everybody else, like, when you're gone, whether you win or lose, you're still an individual. I've had a conversation. I learned your story. And then now I know something about you. And when I see you in public, I can, or Walmart, whatever, I can talk to you and have more like a relationship. So
I'll tell you something that you may find hard to believe. I'm endorsed by all three of the city commission, or 3 or 4 of the city commissioners.
okay.
I'm endorsed by 2 of the former mayors, and I've also had contributions to my campaign funds by the current mayor.
Okay.
Additionally, are you familiar with Mary Lawson Brown?
No, sir.
Okay, her family has been here since teens, and they had the hospital downtown. They also have the Lawson Funeral Home.
Okay.
She's a
I've heard
pillar
of
of the community, former vice mayor.
Okay, I have heard of her. Okay.
But
Another podcast area I've interviewed with her, I think.
yes, you've got to get her on here. But
Okay.
she knows the history of this town, up, down, around, back and forth, and it is just a pleasure, because there's a lot of stuff that she knows that you can't find in any history book,
Right.
anything. But funny tidbit. So my mother was coaching gymnastics at one of the Palaca South, Palaca Marines, whatever, and Mary's daughter was one of her students on her team. So guess who held a baby shower for my mother when she was pregnant with me?
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really neat.
So, and people say, well, how do you have so many friends? I said, we treat everybody the same,
Right.
with respect.
Right.
Something else that a lot of people don't know, Terrell Hill. We disagree on a lot of things, but we're still friends. We went to, we went to high school together. We played sports together. We were in gifted classes together. We're friends. We have some disagreements on stuff, but we agree on a lot of things. And we were looking, we want the best for Putnam County. But where I'm going with this, my grandfather brought Central States Diversified to Putnam County, which is now the Matthews Building downtown by the railroad tracks. Well, in 1972, the union leader was out there walking the picket line, and she was pregnant with a baby. And she had to go into contract negotiation with my grandfather. Well, that baby was Terrell Hill.
Oh, wow.
So
Cool.
our families have had a mutual respect for each other for going on 50 years
Awesome.
now.
Yeah, I like Mayor Hill. We've had coffee a few times together.
He's a smart man.
Down at this and that, and
Sometimes I'm gonna give. Sometimes he's
yeah.
smart man. But sometimes me and him, we just butt heads. But that's part of it. That's the beauty of this county.
right,
The beauty of our country. You know, we see the country so divided left to right. That's not how it works. I'm not always right.
right.
You're not always right.
Right.
But the goal is to
Work together.
listen and work together.
Right.
Because if you continue to fight and stay in your little bubble, nothing's ever going to get accomplished. The animosity is going to increase to the point that eventually it's going to explode.
Right.
Nobody.
And we see that in a federal level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do not want that in our community.
Right.
I do not want that.
Yeah, funny story with Mayor Hill. We do the Boo on Avenue every year. We hand out little, candy for the kids and stuff. But he always is like kind of right near me.
Yeah.
And so one day, another friend was over here talking to us. Mayor was next to me. I was here. A friend came over, was talking to us. And then my friend's little boy started rolling around the ground. And he's like, "Hey, Dad, what is this?" And we looked over, and there's like 3 drug needles, like literally on the ground.
Oh, my God.
So I ran over there and picked them up. And Mayor Hill's like, "Don't pick those up." And I'm like, "Well, if you'd have your crew that you're supposed to he was like, wait. We were just kind of joking. But
Yeah. Oh, no.
of course, he was mayor then. But
Yeah.
anyway, but I learned, don't pick up drug needles. I didn't know, I don't know how that stuff works. I'm just like, I was trying to
Yeah, I know.
save the children,
Yeah,
but-
yeah, doing your civic duty. Yeah.
but he's a good guy.
When I see, we both, he played football and baseball, and I played baseball, and I think he graduated about 185. I graduated about 155. He's like, "Man, who'd you eat?" I was like, I said, "Who are you talking to?"
He weighed 180. He did weigh 185
Oh yeah, he was a specimen now.
back then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I say you were 155.
Yeah, I was tiny. I was
Yeah,
tiny.
so I'm twice your size, so
Oh, I'm about twice. I was twice that size for a little while, but
I don't want to get my weight, but I am 305 pounds.
Yeah,
So a lot of people don't know that, but
no, I mean, we had a lot of good athletes that came up through the high school through the years, and a lot of those people, some of them left, but some of them are still here, and you maintain those relationships, and you kind of create a bond with those people on the, it used to be the field of battle, but now it's the athletic field, because
Right.
you have a respect for their abilities. You always, we didn't come up in the everybody gets a trophy era.
right,
We came up, you got to play if you performed.
Right.
If you didn't perform, you didn't get to play.
right,
And if you wanted to play, you had to get better. And I think that's what drove our generation.
right,
And I think some of that drive is gone because everybody gets a trophy. Doesn't matter. Here. Yeah, you got no.
right,
No, you need to perform or you need to get going
right,
or get better. Those are your options.
right.
Get going or get better.
So in closing, what brought you to running for office?
My love for the community.
Okay.
As we've discussed, I've got a vast knowledge outside of Putnam County of things I've seen and things I've done, and I think that we can do better here. And I think that I can bring that experience that nobody else has. I mean, who's founded one of the largest franchises of anything that lives here in Putnam County that's running for office? Who's received national accolades from 2 of the world's largest companies and lives right here in Putnam County?
Right.
I mean, I'm not bragging. I'm not looking for the accolades. I've had that. I've had the fame. I've had the fortune. I just want to give back. I've got kids. I've got grandkids coming, like you said.
Yes, sir.
And I want it to be better for them, or at least as good as it was for me.
Okay.
And I think that we can do that. I think we're on the verge of huge opportunity here. And if we're strategic with what we do, we could have one of the best communities in the state. People often say, well, Plaqua's a poor, Plaqua's so poor, you can't do anything, you don't have any resource. That's like saying a guy with 100 acres in Texas of barren land that has an oil reserve underneath it that's just been undiscovered has property that's worthless. We have the most beautiful natural resource in the state of Florida in the St. Johns River.
Right.
We have a tremendous opportunity where our main thoroughfare travels across that river and brings traffic right into what could be a beautiful and vibrant downtown. I want to capitalize that. I want to generate business. I want to generate those tax revenues that we can invest back in our community, back into our schools, back into our parks. I want our recreation department to be second to none. I want our public works to have the tools and the utilities that they need to maintain that. I want them to have the pay that they need to raise their families and take pride in their work. It all snowballs. There's not one single piece of the puzzle that is the silver bullet. They all have to work together and gel. Right. And at that point, it continues to snowball and get better and better. But you need that catalyst to drive that growth and to drive that belief in your community.
Right. Very good. Well, thank you. It was nice getting to know you a little bit more and hearing your reason for running, hear about your family, and we'll be praying for you. And I don't know who's going to win the election. I'm not saying who I'm voting for either way. I remain impartial in those things, but or impartial. But
I appreciate you having me, and this has been a joy. And my goal is, I would love to have people vote for me. If you feel like you're compelled to vote for my opponent, that's fine. Vote. I don't care who you vote for. Just vote.
Right. Exercise your obligation.
Yeah.
As a citizen, right?
If you don't vote, you can't complain. I don't want to hear it.
Right. Exactly. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. God bless.